This is all about death. We are going to connect to death powerfully. We're going to stop fearing death. We're going to start walking alongside of it. We're going to start respecting it and giving it gratitude, because without death, we could not have the duality of death, which is life. I've had a lot of fear of death my entire life, ever since I was 4. I mean, almost everyone I love. I mean, most of my family's dead. I mean, I just have a few people left. Most of my best friends have died. Most of my ex-boyfriends and girlfriends have died. I mean, most people I've ever loved or care about have died, unfortunately. You know, like most of my pets and all of these things. And it's just like, it's a situation where I was terrified of it. I was so scared of not my own death, but of continuing to lose the people around me to death. You know, it felt like the adversary of my life or something. But now, you know, doing the work that we're about to get into in this experience, you know, contemplating death, connecting with death, respecting death, you know, working alongside of it has been so healing for so many reasons. For my abandonment issues, you know, whenever somebody dies, like I feel abandoned. Having this weird adversarial kind of situation with death where it's like out to get me kind of thing, you know, it's healed so many things. And it's also made my spirit work practice and my ancestor practice and so many things more powerful, because I'm working alongside of death. You know, I respect it. I revere it in a different way now. And it's just been so good for me. So I really hope that this experience will have the same effect for you. You know, allow you to release that fear of death, to respect it, to understand it, you know, to contemplate it, and to harness the power of death for so many beautiful things to help your life and yourself, you know, grow and expand and evolve. If you're ready to connect deeply with the death current, to death itself, to release the fear of death, to walk alongside of it, to learn to be more present in your life by contemplating and, you know, working with this powerful, ancient, unseen force, then my new Memento Mori course might be just what you're seeking. It's available in my new Occultica program, where you can just get the course on its own, and it's powerful for diving into Death Magick, for shadow work, for other inner work that needs to be done, you know, for releasing trauma, blockages, you know, in your money magic, blockages in your relationships. It's good for, you know, cord cuttings, for banishings. I mean, this is a really powerful ally to work with for lots of internal work, and also, you know, for being able to manifest your outside goals and transform your life in different ways as well, because you can release those blockages. You know, you can, you know, go deeper into manifesting. And tapping into the death current is also really good for empowering your spirit work and diving into the death essence. So spirits are going to be a lot more accessible. Your ancestors are going to be a lot more accessible. So let me just tell you about Memento Mori. So first off, we are going to get acquainted with death. We're going to learn the history of death magic, funerary practices, death professions. We're going to get into like the whole background of death before we actually get into working with death. And then we're going to move into, you know, building an altar for death, even if it's temporary or long-term. You know, it depends on how like dedicated you are to your death magic practice. But we're also going to be, you know, getting into like death potions, death ingredients, what deities, you know, Norse gods, Egyptian goddesses and gods, you know, demons, like all these different entities that we can work with to connect with death more powerfully, even though death itself is kind of like the oldest entity that exists, because death has existed as long as life has, essentially. And it's like, I think, the most powerful too, because death is irrevocable. It's inevitable. It doesn't discriminate, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have or anything, like death will come. So it's probably like the most powerful of all of the forces, I think, except for life itself. But we're going to get, you know, like I said, acquainted with death by, you know, going into its background and, you know, kind of starting to connect with death, you know, through making potions and, you know, working with deities and things like that. And then we're going to go and spend some time in the graveyard, and we're going to basically just reside in the energy of death, you know, connect to the spirits around us that are already dead. just connect with all the liminal, and intense energy of, the graveyard. So we'll be doing some activities and meditations and things like that there. And then we'll actually start working with death for rituals. We have so many incredible rituals that are going to be step by step to help guide you to, either try these out yourself or to create your own rituals working with death. And we're going to get into like banishings, cord cuttings, shadow work. And we're going to be getting into so many different kinds of like different facets of, our lives and like our own like evolution and transformation that we can work alongside of death to accomplish these, different goals and to do the inner work within ourselves, or, to just, connect with death and build a relationship with death, just like we do with deities and demons and things. There's a lot of different things that we're going to be getting into in this experience where we are connecting with death and learning to release the fear of death by contemplating death, contemplating our own death, and this is something that's really powerful. I learned this from, there's a lot of different, Buddhist monks that actually spend each morning meditating and contemplating their own death. And that's how they are able to be more present in their lives every day, because they are contemplating death at the start of it. And I think that is just absolutely beautiful. So are you ready to get acquainted with death and work alongside of it? Let's dive in.